What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got a duel full of pluses for you guys to check out. You are going to see an absurd amount of advantage made just within a couple of turns by the deck at the bottom. This is Metapho Inzektors. I think I've shown this deck on my channel a couple of times, but it has gotten considerably stronger. And I think people don't realize that these two archetypes go together extremely well, kind of like a peanut butter and jelly. Obviously, the Metaphos can pop the Inzektor cards when they're equipped. It activates your Inzektors, and it works really well if you happen to have Hornet and there's nothing on your opponent's side of the field to blow up, so that you don't have to blow up your own cards. And then the Inzektors, you can use Hornet to blow up the Metapho spell and traps, and you make advantage that way, because obviously the Metapho cards, like if you send Fusion to the graveyard, you just put it back in your deck and it helps you draw a card. So the two archetypes really work well in unison, and the best thing is, and this is one of the reasons why I'm showing them, they're both getting Link Monsters. They both got Link Monsters announced in a Link Vrains pack. One of them has been announced in Extreme Force for the TCG, the other one not so much. So let's go ahead and roll this, and you will have to excuse the guy at the top. I think he was drunk or something. I generally like to judge the opponent by like one of the immediate things I look at is, did you make a competent turn one play? This is not a competent turn one play. A competent turn one play is like, I don't know, putting a little bit of stun on the board or trying to put yourself in a position to survive. Just putting a Mithrium out there with a combination, like, I don't really know about that, man. And then he just flips over combination all willy-nilly. Like that's going to make him survive this turn, but it's fine. Pendulum Summon for 2. Centipede equips Ladybug. I believe he's going to get, okay, he gets Gigamantis. He's going to equip that. Now you're going to see him pop his Gigamantis, which is going to trigger Gigamantis and Centipede. That's the synergy between the two archetypes. He gets his Ladybug back to the field. Now he has Dragonfly. He's going to go ahead. I believe he popped Dragonfly, or yeah. Now he went ahead and he popped the Gigamantis, which obviously is just going to get him even more pluses as he can summon from his deck with Dragonfly. And the cool thing is, he actually summoned the Inzektor Link Monster. A lot of people didn't think this card was that good, but it got him to his Hornet, and I think that he's going to activate that that Pot of Avarice. Well, I'm going to call it a Digusto Emerald type effect, which is going to get him another draw, and he's not going to kill his opponent here yet, but he's going to just have an absurd amount of advantage. He's going to activate her main phase 2 to get him another free card. Just make sure you leave Hornet in the graveyard. And look at this field, right? Keep in mind, this was just one turn. So if you just put these two monsters in his monster zones, he'd have what, 11 cards on field. This man has already went +5. That's pretty damn impressive. And don't worry, it's gonna go even deeper than that. It's like every single turn with this deck, you basically just are like making +5 advantage. I think he maybe, if he would have link summoned a little bit, maybe he could have killed his opponent. I'm not sure why he attacked. It was pretty obvious he had counter on the field. He has Regeki. Not sure if he even needs it at this point, because Hornet's just doing so much damage. Now he decides to go into a different Link Monster, brings out the heavy Metaphos, and it's pretty much just doing that work right now. I believe he's going to blow up the Metaphos Fusion that he just set. He could use Metaphos Fusion, but I think he's just like, I'd rather just draw some more cards. And I think we're coming up to the Rage Quit right about now. He's not even blowing up his opponent's cards. He's like, bro, I'm having way too much fun blowing up my own shit. Yeah, there's the Rage Quit. And I did a little bit of card counting, because I was like, dude, this is absurd. Not only is he still going to be able, I believe, to get a draw from Electromites, but then during the end phase, obviously Bismugear was going to get him another card. So again, we have 5 monsters in what's it called, in our monster zones, including the Link. So that's 6. Add 2 more, that's 8. And then we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards by turn 2. Addition, or I guess you could add, wait, so we're at 15. I guess you could add 2 more cards on top of that, because again, he was going to get a draw from Electromite, and then he was going to get a search from Bismugear. So you're talking about 17 cards in your second turn. Now, granted, he didn't have to play through, you know, much opposition. His opponent didn't have basically any way of defending himself, but that's still pretty absurd for a deck to be able to compile, you know, 17 cards turn 2 without even needing something like Maxi or Hyper Librarian, cards that just print you out advantage, level eater, grinder, golem, etc., etc. So whatever you guys thought, leave it in the comment section below. Actually, before I close this video out, let me go ahead and show you guys the deck list. Okay, so this is what the deck looks like on paper, and I think that I barely need to explain anything because this looks actually very similar to the last Inzektor Metafoe build that I showed. I mean, obviously you're going to run just about all the Inzektors because even if you hard draw the bad ones, you can just put them on the field and blow them up, or you can equip them. Like, one of the reasons that some of the bad Inzektors like Giga Weevil can be ran in this deck is because you can equip them, then you can blow them up with the Metafoe cards, and you can activate cards like Dragonfly, or more importantly, actually, you can activate something like Centipede, and you can get to the right card that you do actually want to search. So it's not really a big deal if you draw some of the like kind of crappier Inzektors. That's why you see like Gigamantis ran at 2, when traditionally that's kind of been a one-of. You don't see any swords in this deck. I think that sword would be sword requires you to, well, sword's a card that you like can't pendulum summon. Like some of the other crappy Inzektors, at least you can pendulum summon them too because they are like level 6s and 5s and stuff. So I don't think sword would be something that really fit in here that well. It'd be a little win more, and there wouldn't even really be any desperate plays with it. The Metafoe lineup is pretty much standard. You're running like 3s and 2s of pretty much all the Metafoe cards. Only one copy of Fusion. One Metafoe's full Metafoe's Fusion in here. I'm not even sure if that's necessary. I think it's just another card or another target to search. You have Maxi and Ash as your defensive cards, as well as Solemn Strike, because you didn't really see him have any like stun cards on the field unless you go into unless you go into Alkahest. There's no real cards in here that actually stop your opponent from doing what they want to do. I mean, I guess maybe a Firewall Dragon Bounce, but like outside of Alkahest, there aren't that many ways of defending against your opponent. So you at least want a couple of cards that can stop them.